Hey guys, it's Kaz here, and today I'm going to be going through my 2021 TBR. So, yesterday I posted up my 2021 goals video. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. Before this video, after this video, doesn't really matter, but that'll give you all of my goals in one place. But this video is just me going through the individual books that are on my 2021 TBR. So, for the past 2 years at least, I've had quite big yearly TBRs. And it's meant that I'm kind of forcing myself to read specific books and then not being able to get to newer ones and blah de blah de blah. This year I've got 21 books for 2021. They do kind of fit into categories, so I'm going to sort of go category by category, and let's just jump straight in with contemporary. So first up I have George by Alex Gino. This is a middle grade book about a trans girl wanting to be the main person in a school play, and then I think it's all about her sort of exploring who she is and everybody else learning about that. It's a little one, it's middle grade. I'm very much looking forward to reading this, and I'm not going to carry on saying that because I feel like I'm going to say that for every book, so let's just stop it right here. I'm obviously looking forward to reading all these books, so let's just not say that every time. Carry on, thank you. Next up I have Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. This one I've seen the film many times, so I know the story already. I feel like perhaps the ending might be a little different. I may have heard that somewhere, or that may just be a lie, but this one will be an interesting read. I know Kat from Brews and Reviews absolutely hated this book, so I'm kind of intrigued as to why, and just intrigued how it's sort of explored in a book rather than a film. Oh yeah, I said nothing about what this is about. It's about fighting in a club and psychological and mental health and stuff. Then I have Hate List by Jennifer Brown. This one is about a girl whose boyfriend shot up the school, killing some people. I think she got injured in the process, and it's about grief and guilt and sadness and all that sort of things wrapped into one, because she feels kind of partly responsible because they had this hate list where they wrote down people that they didn't like, and then that seems to be the list that he used to go around, and those are the people that he decided to target. So it's quite chunky for a contemporary, but hopefully it's going to be a harrowing and thought providing. I was going to say that is not how you say that. Thought provoking read. And then last in the contemporary section I have Anger is a Gift by Mark Ashiro. This is a contemporary about race and police. I think it's set in a school where police presence is quite big, and they have like their own school police. That's a thing in America apparently. And about how the black students or the people of colour are treated. I think there's loads of different LGBTQIA+ rep in here as well. So, I mean, as soon as I bought this I wanted to read it, and I haven't yet, so I'm doing it. Next section is sort of thriller slash horror slash mystery, all that jazz. So I have The Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. I read Red Dragon in 2020. Really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure whether I would or not, because like horror and thrillery sort of things are not really a genre that I read a lot from. But I very much enjoyed it, so looking forward to going on to the next book. This is the second book in the Hannibal Lecter series. And yeah, looking forward to it. It's about Hannibal Lecter and all that. Next I have The Chalkman by CJ Tudor. I don't know a lot about this. I know there's kids and then they draw a chalkman on trees so they know that they're there, and then I think someone dies. I don't know a lot about this. I don't want to know a lot about this. It's like a mystery thriller type thing. So what I have heard is that a lot of people really like this book, so I'm intrigued. Like I said, it's not really my genre, so hopefully I very much enjoy this one. Then I have Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. This is a sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, a book I very much enjoyed in 2020. And again, I don't really know much about this one. I don't really want to know. The first one, she was exploring this murder that had happened and whether the right person was not convicted, but whether the right person was blamed or whether it was somebody else. Really enjoyed that first book. The second book, I think there's something surrounding a podcast as well, but I don't really know much about this at all. But hopefully it's as good as the first one. And then last in the thriller mystery horror type section is Final Girls by Riley Sager. This is about a bunch of girls who all survived their specific serial killer, I think, and then they start getting killed off one by one. I think that's the premise. Again, I don't know much more than that. This sort of book, I don't really want to know much going in, but this is another one that sounded interesting and a lot of people seem to like. So I thought, hey, maybe that is one of the ones that will pique my interest and get me some more into this genre. Fingers crossed. It sounds interesting. Next up we have non-fiction. So first up we have This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. I read 'Twas a Night Shift before Christmas, around Christmas 2020. Very much enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to getting to his first book. This is a medical memoir about Adam Kay's time in the NHS, and it's just like funny but also sad sometimes because obviously people are ill because they're in hospital. But I'm very much looking forward. No, we're not saying that. But this is one that I'm going to read in 2021. Next up I have Nansen by Roland Hunsford. This is a chonky McTronky, but I think this much at the end is just all the index, but it's still quite a big read, and it's going to be quite a heavy read as well because it's biography about Fridtjof Nansen, who is a Norwegian explorer who explored the North Pole, and he's just really cool, and I've learned a bunch of stuff about him the times I've visited Oslo, and yeah, he just seems like a really legit dude. I went to the Fram Museum. He had a big boat and then explored the North Pole, and he was also an artist and a diplomat, and at one point during the war he had the Nansen passport, so people that didn't have a country could get Nansen passports so they could actually get places. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to learning more about him in depth, but I know this is going to be quite a heavy read, so that's why I've put it on here. So I definitely will get it read because I've been wanting to read this ever since I got it, but it's just kind of a little bit daunting. So yes. Next up I have Unbelievable by Miller and Armstrong. Side note, is that what that comedian couple is called, Miller and Armstrong? That's what I thought anyway, but that's got nothing to do with anything. Unbelievable, this is I think it's essays about this girl who got raped in her own home, went to the police, and they pretty much said that she's lying and she took it all back, and then at the same time that was happening just around where she lived, loads of people getting broken into and raped. So that whole thing was happening at the same time as her being treated like she did something wrong. I watched the Netflix sort of limited series about this. That's how I found out it was a book. So I'm interested to read the actual like 100% facts, because obviously sometimes in TV shows they sort of mould around the truth to make it more appealing to watch. So in here I'll find out 100% what happened IRL. And then last but not least, in the non-fiction section, I have Natives, Race and Class in the Ruins of Empire by Akala. Akala is a British musician. I'll insert a picture here that I took of him when I saw him at Leeds Festival a few years ago. But also a author, obviously, a poet. Is very into politics and journalism and stuff like that, and talking about race and class in England. I'm always enthralled with Akala whenever I hear him talk about anything. It's just so gripping, so hopefully his writing is the same as the way he speaks about it. We're halfway through, so you know what time it is. It's time for a message from our sponsors, and then I will be back. You're gonna help me read the books, Mance? All the books. So next up I have sci-fi. First up I have The Revenge of Seven by Pittacus Law. This is the next book in this series that I need to read. I have been reading them. It's been taking a long time, so I really need to actually get them read. This is about an alien race that comes down to Earth, and then this other alien race is trying to kill them all and destroy them all, and they all have powers, and it's kind of fun and cool and interesting, and the powers are all fun. And yeah, I've been enjoying this series, so this is the next one, book 5 I think. I don't know, I've moaned about this before, but it doesn't say anywhere on any of the books what number in the series it is, so it's a number in the series, and I'm gonna read it. Also I have Guardian by Alex London. This is the sequel and conclusion of the Proxy series. Here's the thing, I got this book straight after I finished Proxy and I was so excited to read it, but then I just never got around to it, which is just, isn't that just the story of my life with books in general? I get it as soon as I want to read it, and then I just haven't yet. This is a duology. It's kind of dystopian and sci-fi. Basically the rich people at the top can just get away with anything, and the people that are poor become proxies because they have loads of debt that they have to pay off for their schooling and the housing and the orphanage and anything like that. So the rich people basically buy a proxy, and then whenever they do something wrong, whether it's something little, like chat back to somebody, whether it's something bigger, like stealing, whether it's something massive, like murder. The proxy is the one that gets the punishment, and the rich person just has to watch them do it from afar. And yeah, I really enjoyed the first book. The ending of that, something quite big happened, so I don't know how I haven't got to this yet. So this is the conclusion. I'm sure it's going to be great. I hope it's going to be great. And then last in sci-fi, I have Dark Feather by Andrew Demkak. This is the third in the Elusive Spark trilogy. This is about a group of kids that all have powers and then a corrupt government. And the first book kind of has X-Men vibes, but then also there's an undercurrent of, who is the good guy and who is the bad guy here? And there's also loads of LGBT rep, and it's just really fun. So, next up we have fantasy. So the first in fantasy is Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. How have I not read this yet? It is the next series after the Raven cycle. This is the Dream, whatever, the Dreamer trilogy. And I've had it for ages, and how have I not read it yet? I don't know. But I'm kind of glad that I've left it for ages, because it means less wait for the second book. But still, how have I not read this yet? I don't know. It's about Ronan and Adam and other people, and I need to read it. Next, I have The Beauty of Darkness by Mary E. Pearson. This is the conclusion of the Remnants Chronicles, which is a series that I've been reading for a few years now. I keep doing that, read one book and then the next year read another book and then the next year read another book. But I got this one for my birthday, so I didn't have the book, which is an excuse that I will live by. But yeah, the first book in this series is one that you might have heard of even if you haven't read it. It's where there's three perspectives. One is the princess, one is an assassin, and one is the prince. And you don't find out who is the assassin and who is the prince until the end of the book. So it's kind of interesting to try and figure out who's who and who wants the good stuff and who wants the bad stuff. And then the second book I very much enjoyed, so this one will hopefully be a good conclusion and we'll see what's going on. And then last in the fantasy section, I have War Master's Gate by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is book 9 in the 10-book series, Shadows of the Apt, so getting very close. I don't actually have the 10th book, so perhaps I'll buy that in 2021. This one looks like a chonker, but it's just a lot bigger than the other books. It's not longer than some of them, it's just really chonkerson. But yeah, I feel like I've explained this book quite recently in my last, like in my November wrap up or something. I explained this series quite a lot. But it's a fantasy, steampunk, sort of political and war and intrigue and people and different races and different kingdoms with different powers. Some of them are magic, some of them are not. Some of them can fly, see in the dark, shoot stuff out of their hands. They're all based on different insects. And this is book 9 in that series. So yeah. And then last but not least, I have the graphic novel section. So first up I have The Complete Mouse by Art Spiegelman. This is about World War II, Germany, and it's represented as cats and mouses. Mouses, that's not how you say that. Mice. Cats and mice. And yeah, I'm intrigued to read this one, even though I'm not massively keen on that part of history. Reading, I think in graphic novel form, it might be more interesting. And here's the artwork. Next, I have Preacher Volume 6, War in the Sun. This is just a series that I've very much enjoyed and haven't read one for quite a long time, so hopefully I get the rest of the volumes read in 2021. There's only 9, so this is 6, there's not a lot after this. This is about a guy who has this being in him, this sort of biblical being, and whatever he says, people do. And then there's an Irish vampire, and then there's people after him, and then there's heaven and hell and stuff, and good people and bad people. And it's a time, so I want to carry it on. And here is the artwork. And then last but not least of this section and of my whole 2021 TBR, it is the Saga Compendium 1. This is over 1,000 pages of saga. I think it's the first 9 volumes, so there's a lot. I have technically read the first volume in an individual volume, but I'll definitely go back and start it again because it was a long time ago. But yeah, I want to get this one read because I've had it for quite a while and I'm really interested in this series. Everybody seems to love it. I did really enjoy the first volume, so hopefully I will like it a lot and want to read loads. This is about 2 people from different alien races who get together, have a baby, and then everybody hates that fact, so they're just trying to kill them. And I've only read one volume, but I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. Hopefully the rest of it is interesting because there's a lot here. Here is the artwork. And yes, a chunky chunkster to end the 2021 TBR. So there we go, that is all the books. 21 books instead of about 50, which is very much doable, definitely. Like I said at the beginning, if you haven't seen my goals video, which I put out yesterday, then definitely check that out because I have a bunch more goals that you might find interesting. Maybe. Leave some comments down below if you've read any of these books, if any of them sound interesting. What are your 2021 TBR or goals in general? Let me know down below. And if this is your first video by me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of the others. And if you continue to enjoy it, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video. Bye.